dedicated a great deal of time to putting into their sports, and we appreciate everything they've done. I'd also like to thank Lisa Menard for typing the certificates and Kathy Evans for typing the program for tonight. And there is one omission from that program, and Kelsey Iso's name was left off the bowling list. And I apologize for that. Tonight we will recognize the students who participated in hockey, volleyball, bowling, and in the second session, cheerleading and basketball. We've had many successes this winter. The girls basketball team winning the CAC championship and Section 7 championship to top it off. And we are proud of all our athletes' accomplishments. In addition to their athletic talents, 45 of the players earned high honors in academics, that's a 90 average or above, while they were participating this winter. On behalf of the coaching staff, I wish the best for our seniors who have performed for their last time in these sports at Northeastern Clinton. And we encourage our returning athletes to work hard so that we can continue our program of excellence in the future. What we'll do tonight is I'll call a team down, come up, stand up front. We'll introduce the player and ask you to hold your applause till all the players have been introduced, and then the coach will comment on team and individual accomplishments. I ask everyone in the audience to please be patient and respectful of the coaches as they are speaking about the athletes and the teams that they are recognizing. And I'll also ask that everyone remain in the auditorium for the full session. First team we'd like to recognize, the hockey team. Kyle Bushy, Josh Dragon, Jamie Gadway, Roy Mitchell, Ryan Casey, Sean Casey, James Jeanette, John Southwick, Kyle Cartier, Kyle Hicks, Eric LeBlanc, Tim Manor, Josh Welch, Peter Coulomb, Kyle Gadway, White Kerrigan, and Keenan Minette. Please welcome the varsity hockey team and their coaches Rob Francis and Lee Gadway.
I guess I'm the warm-up act. Okay, I rehearsed this at home. It took me 20 minutes, so I'm figuring I'll get you out of here in about 15. I hope that's all right. Actually, I'm very unprepared, so I'm just going to have to bear with me. First of all, a few thanks to the parents, of course, for all their support throughout the year. The attendance was up a lot this year. Our home games, there was a lot of support from our parents, from the youth hockey parents. It's nice to see. All their help in the fundraising, thanks to Denise Gadway for arranging the Little Caesars Pizza Kit Drive. She did a great job. We made some good money with that. The chaperones for our dance, that was appreciated. The guys at the rec center, Mike Lemieux, Mike O'Brien, Kim, all those guys, they give us a few minutes here and there. They're pretty decent to us. To Dr. Southwick for all his help. It's nice when you have medical assistants, especially with some of the teams and some of the games we played. He's always there if we need someone to come on the ice, both home and away, and that helps. And especially to Lee for all his help this year. There were some times when I couldn't get out of work on time, or I was out of town, and he stepped in, and I really appreciate that. How did we do? We finished the year 6-12-3. An improvement from last year. We did well. We were a young team. We're still a young team. We're going to continue to be a young team. But every year we seem to be improving, at least in the last 2 years since I've been on the bench. We started out with a win, a couple ties. You know, one of the ties against the defending Section 7 champion, Lake Placid. That was a big tie for us, a huge game. You know, Roy stood on his head, made some great saves. You know, we had as many scoring opportunities as they did. We started out, we tied Tupper Lake, who for some reason we just can't seem to beat. But it was a good game for us. We were capable at any time of being one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion. You know, we played Saranac Lake, the team that won the league championship, to a 2-2 tie. Out of the 12 losses, 4 of them were by 1 goal, 3 of them were by 2 goals, you know, a couple of them by 3 goals. And, you know, so we were in every game. And it was quite an accomplishment, being that we were so young. You can tell by the sheer brute size of this team that we weren't a real physical team, and sometimes that hurt us. We played bigger, stronger teams. They put the body to us, and you know, it's tough, being that you're young and small and stuff, so hopefully getting some weight over the summer and maybe getting them in the weight room will definitely help us. We made young team mistakes. You know, we'd get tired, we started throwing the puck around our zone, had trouble clearing, puck ends up in our net. I mean, that's all things that they're going to learn as they go on, you know, as they play more high school hockey. And I definitely, you know, I'm sure we're going to see an improvement in the next few years. We had some good wins this year. We beat a team, Monroe Woodbury, that had won the Beacontown tournament the last 4 years in a row. We ended up playing them in the consolation game, and, you know, we beat them pretty well. Burnt Hills, another team from downstate. It's weird, but we seem to do quite a bit better against the teams from downstate, and we can't seem to beat the local teams. But anyways, they played real well against the Burnt Hills team. Had a good showing. Indian River, which is a new team this year, but a combination of like 4 different schools. So they had like 35 kids on their bench. You know, so we had some good wins this year. You know, they should be proud of that. We were very successful in most of the games, relying on our upperclassmen. You know, they were the key go-to guys. Most of them had been around, been on the team, some of them since 8th grade, playing varsity hockey, which is almost unheard of. Of course, unless you play for us, I guess that's not really that unheard of. But yeah, they were the go-to guys. You know, Jamie Gadway, Ryan Casey, Sean Casey, John Southwick, James Jeanette. Those guys, you know, they saw a lot of ice time. They logged a lot of ice time. You know, next year, some of the underclassmen or some of the ones that were new to the high school team this year, they're going to, you know, definitely be called upon to play bigger roles. More importantly than how they did on the ice, though, this team in the last 2 years has gained a lot of respect. And I don't mean just by being more competitive, but the way they've handled themselves on and off the ice. You know, I've had a lot of officials come up to me, a lot of coaches after the game, and say, "Wow, this team has really turned around." You know, boys will be boys, and tempers flare and stuff like that. But for the most part, they handled themselves really well on and off the ice, and that's saying a lot for these guys. Our youth programs, I don't know if some of you may be involved in those. The numbers are there. The teams are strong. You know, in the future, this team's only going to get better. There's no doubt in my mind. They keep working hard and sticking to it. We're definitely going to be better. And, you know, I'm pretty excited about that. I decided to go with 2 MVPs this year instead of doing most improved. Most improved is tough because you know, if I'm doing my job right, then everybody improves. That's the way I feel about it. And this year, really, there could have been actually a couple more MVPs to the list, but I went with 2. The first one, easily, in my opinion, is one of the finest, if not the finest, goalie to ever come out of Northeastern Clinton. This kid, he's played hurt in the last 2 years. He's played sick. I mean, anybody that's ever seen one of our hockey games, capable of on any given night of stopping 50 or 60 shots, and it's just amazing. You know, most coaches after the game would just be shaking their heads for him. You know, that's some goalie. He did an awesome job. He's a real coachable kid, and I think he's got a real bright future in hockey. Roy Mitchell. The second one, he was a captain. This kid really, he plays well on both sides of the puck. He handles the puck well, he's got great hands, great balance, he's hard to knock off the puck. And he's also back there on defense, busting his butt, getting the job done in our own zone. He really, this kid logged a lot of ice time this year, a lot of ice time. But he works hard in practice, and he deserves everything he got. He's a good kid, and I wish him the best of luck. Jamie Gatway. And basically, that's all I have. I'm looking forward to the future. The kids are going to be there. Hopefully the program will still be there. And we just got to keep working hard on and off the ice to, try to make sure that Northeastern hockey continues to improve. Thank you.
I teach a lot of these guys. I've never known them to have so few words. I'd like to call down the modified volleyball team, please. Amanda Tromley. Diana Canty. Ashley Gay, 8th grader. Crystal Lavarnway. Miranda Mills. Ashley Patno. Vanessa Di Natale. Tabitha Gillespie. Amanda Goodfellow. Ashley Gay, the 7th grader. Sarah Kelly. Amanda Lynch. Carissa Manette. Nora Paola. Please welcome the modified volleyball team and their coach, Steve.
I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who has helped and supported our team. As always, a special thanks go out to all the parents who brought their daughters to and from school, practices every Saturday, and for Saturdays for our games. Your attendance and support was greatly appreciated by myself and the players as well. I want to thank Matt Katz, the JV coach, and Brent Baker, the varsity coach, for all their hard work and dedication put into this program. And I want to congratulate both of you on a very successful season. I want to thank Josie Gilroy, our athletic director, who does an excellent job of scheduling practices, making sure all the sports programs run smoothly, and for all our help in hosting our own volleyball match. Finally, I want to thank all my players for their dedication and persistence, which made for a gratifying season. As always, the season went by so fast. It seems just like yesterday when we had our first practice. But our season is over, and we have certainly come a long way. They've put a great deal of time into learning this game and to improving their skills. They should all be very proud of their accomplishments. Just want to take a few minutes to talk about each player. Amanda Trombley has been with me off and on for the past 2 years and has proven to be quite a force both in serving and setting. She has a nice strong serve and quickly adapted to her new position this year as a setter. Amanda is a freshman, which means this year is her last year in modified. I will certainly miss her next year. Diana Canty. Diana was one of the more quiet players in our team, but she always had a smile and couldn't wait to get practice started. Diana worked very hard this year, especially on her serve. All her hard work eventually paid off and she developed a nice technique. Krista Lavarnway came to us this year from Saranac. Saranac's loss was definitely our gain. Krista also became better this year for us. Krista has an amazingly strong serve, and opposing teams were quickly made aware of this. Whenever they saw Krista come to the serving line, they would all start throwing and back way up. Ashley Patno. This is Ashley's second year in volleyball, and she has proven herself to be a tremendous asset to our team. Ashley started this year setting for us and did a great job. Her consistency in setting and serving was without a doubt one key to our success. Ashley Gay, 8th grader, and I have to call her this because I have two girls on my team with the same name. Ashley has really come into her own this year. Her time and dedication was evident on the court, and she could always be counted on to deliver that much-needed serve. Ashley ended the season with a grand total of 109 points and 45 aces, which has earned her this year's Most Valuable Player award. Miranda Mills. She did very well this year, working hard to improve, especially in her hits and serves. In the first two games of the season, Miranda averaged 10 points a match. By the end, she was averaging close to 20. In all, Miranda improved to a total of 90 points and 38 aces, which has earned her this year's Most Improved Player award. Vanessa Dinatelli. The best way to describe Vanessa is bubbly and enthusiastic. Vanessa had so much energy, you could never wait to start playing. Vanessa worked hard on passing and serving, but became frustrated when things didn't go quite as planned. But she never gave up, and her persistence paid off. Vanessa now has a strong serve and a nice hitting approach. Tabitha Gillespie. In contrast to most of the others, Tabitha was a very quiet girl. Even so, Tabitha worked relentlessly, especially on her serving. She developed a nice hitting approach and consistent passing. She showed tremendous improvement throughout the season. Amanda Goodfellow, more commonly known as Nugget, was a pleasure to coach. Being one of the smaller players in our team, Amanda strived even harder to do well. The look of excitement on her face, which made a great player serve, was priceless. But then again, the same could also be said when coming home from away games, Amanda would realize she was finally out of food. Ashley Gay, the 7th grader. Ashley came to volleyball meaning business. She has a positive, aggressive, go-for-anything attitude. She would do whatever she had to prevent the ball from dropping. She's a strong athlete and developed a nice serve. Sarah Kelly is one of those players that seems to have a knack for everything. This makes it difficult to decide which position to play her in, so she tried setting. Her height and agility made her a natural for this position, but at the same time she could also attack the ball with a vengeance. Amanda Lynch. Amanda is a versatile player. She developed a nice, consistent pass and hitting approach. Amanda put her heart into the game and really made some nice saves for us this year. She became much stronger as the season progressed, and with that, her serves did as well. Krista Manette. She really came through for us with her serves. I had to keep reminding Krista to back up, otherwise her serves would go right into the bleachers. Krista has an exuberant personality, especially when she's in pursuit of making a play. Nora Paola. You always knew when Nora was serving. Her toss was so high up in the air, I would sometimes wonder if it would ever come down. Still, she managed to serve with amazing accuracy. Of course, I'm sure part of her success was due to all the food breaks she took. I can't say enough for a great group of girls we were to work with this year. I think we all enjoyed ourselves, had a good time, and learned a lot from the same process. They're also positive, dedicated, and excited about volleyball. It's impossible not to have a successful season. I truly look forward to something returning next year, hopefully, and those going on to Mr. Katz, I'm sure he will do what we do again next year. Congratulations again to each of you.
Hi, this volleyball season was fun. Mr. Sherman coached us good again this year as he did last year. We only had 3 people that played or modified last year that played this year, so we had a lot of newcomers. We won a lot of our games, even though we sometimes fought, but that's beside the point. All of us became closer as the season passed on. We only don't talk at our games and practice, but in the halls and outside of school. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we had a great season, and thanks to Mr. Sharm, and for the ones who move on to JV next year. Thanks for the great and fun volleyball season. We will miss you. Mr. Sharm, you already have your t-shirt with our picture on it, and we also have something else for you too.
We have the JV volleyball team to come down here. Kristen Blow. Sarah McDonald. Emmeline Allen. Karen Christensen Acero. Ashley Dragoon. Jen Mitchell. Jovi Perez. Lauren Smith. Brittany Supernon. Ashley Yates. Jessie Jeanette. And manager Amanda Mailer. Please welcome our JV volleyball team and coach Matt Cash.
As the rock band Quiet Riot once sung, we're not going to take it anymore. No, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take being a second-rate team that other teams take for granted. This year we proved that we can play with every team in the league. We beat the so-called volleyball powerhouses. We beat Peru. We beat NAC. We beat Beekman Town. We beat Saranac. And we played PHS tough. We lost the first game to PHS by 3 points, and they had to go to extended play to beat us in the second game. So we proved this year we can play with anybody. Last year I stood up here before you and said, before these girls graduate, they're going to bring home a banner. Yeah, there's going to be a banner. We haven't had a banner for volleyball in that gym since 1977. And I guarantee you, with this group right here, with these girls, they will bring home that banner. There's no doubt in my mind. By far, the most talented group of girls in the league. There really wasn't any other team that passed as well as they did. Set the play. They almost set up every single play, and that's pretty much unheard of in volleyball at the JV level. At the JV level, I clarified that. Varsity girls. As a coach, you only hope that all your players improve, and I can honestly say that every single one of these girls improved their game this year. There was number one. Smiling Jessie Jeanette. Okay, whenever you looked at her, she always had a smile on her face. Jessie was a setter for me. It's her first year playing at the JV level. She played as an 8th grader. And she started every game. She was a definite asset to our team. She's always a good server, okay, passer when you get there. She probably improved the most in her game moving to the ball. I thought she moved to the ball much better towards the end of the season. And if we're going to do anything next year, she's going to be a big key to our team. There was number 2, Ashley Aiken. What can I say about Ashley? This year I asked her to play center, pretty much because we didn't have anybody else that could do it. Although, for her size, she hits the ball as hard as anybody on the team. Take a good look at her. She's not very big. She's the girl right over here in the blue shirt. She's not a very big girl. Not a very big girl, but I guarantee you, pound for pound, she hits the ball just as hard as anybody out there on the floor. And then there was Lauren Smith, number 5. She was probably my biggest surprise this year. She also was the first year. I don't know how I missed her last year. Normally I pick them right out in 8th grade. I don't know how I ever missed her. She started the year as a hitter. Eventually she moved over to the setting position, where I think that's truly her calling, because Lauren's best gift is her ability to remain calm under any circumstance and call out plays no matter what no matter how we're losing. She's got natural leadership ability, and that's what makes her such a good setter. And I was very proud to have her on my team this year. There's number 6, Brittany Supernaut. Brittany also improved in passing and hitting this year. And I'm happy to say she no longer runs to the ball with her hands together. When called upon, Brittany made good passes and attacked the ball well. I look forward to seeing her game continually improve next year. And then there was number 7, Jovi Perez. What can I say about Jovi? Although Jovi's game improved in all areas, her game improved most in setting and hitting. Oh, serving and hitting, excuse me. During the game against Saranac Lake, Jovi had 7 consecutive kills. Pretty good. Next year, I hope Jovi's more aggressive and is the player I know she can be. And there's number 10, Kristen Glode. Kristen had a great sense of humor, kept us laughing in all the practices. Kristen's steady serving and vicious attacks will be missed next year. I only wish I had more time with her. And there's number 12, Jen Mitchell. What can I say about Jen? Half the time I didn't even know what she was saying. She's always talking some gibberish. I don't know what planet she comes from, but it's not this one. Now Jen, if there could be a 7th man award or a 7th person award in volleyball, Jen would definitely get it. She was definitely a big key to our team coming off the bench. Serving the ball, she's strong, steady server. You couldn't ask. She's definitely going to be a big asset to our team next year, and I'm looking forward to taking her back next year. And there's number 8, Karen Christensen-Acero. How do you say Moody? I believe I counted 25 times this year she told me she hated me. Karen improved in every aspect of her game this year. She became a consistent server towards the end of the year and was the most dominant middle blocker hitter in the league. No other player in the league dominated the middle of the court like Karen. Karen made huge gains in every part of her game this year. There is not one aspect of her game that didn't improve. And that's why Karen is my most improved player this year. Then there's number 9, Ashley Dragoon. Ashley, she switched positions this year. She started the season at setter, and eventually she moved to hitter, where she became a very strong hitter for us. I think that's more of a calling than being a setter. She's always been a very consistent server, but this year she improved most in passing the ball. She used to tell me we used to do this drill called threes, and she used to tell me when I served the ball, I know he's going to serve it to me. I know he's going to serve it to me. Well, I did serve it to her, but I didn't have to serve it to her as much as normal because she improved great. I mean, that was definitely, her game improved so much in passing this year. I'm so proud of her. Did a great this year, Ashley. Number 4, Emma Allen. Coach's dream. She never misses a practice, never complains, and does whatever is asked of her. Last year, Ann she used to tell me when it was her turn to serve, "Can you take me out, Mr. Katz?" Well, this year, Em was by far my most consistent server. I could always count on Em to get the ball over the net in any situation. She improved in hitting the ball this year. She was definitely a vicious outside attacker. If I'd have kept good stats, I could tell you exactly how many kills she had, but fortunately I'm too lazy to do that. I don't know what I would have done without him this year, and that's why Em is one of my co-MVPs this year. Last but not least, there's Sarah McDonald. As my only captain this year, she was asked to have a huge responsibility in trying to keep all these girls together. Sarah, I think she called 18 consecutive flips this year. How many was it, Sarah? Where are you? How many did you have? All but one. Every game, the captain goes out and they call the flip to see who gets the ball first. And Sarah called almost every one of them right this year. That's huge. Volleyball is so much a game of momentum when you're out there. And to get the ball first and to have the serve first, it really means a lot. And she always got the serve. Sarah's she's a player I pretty much, we always took for granted. I always took for granted. I knew she'd make the play. I expected her to make the great pass. I expected her to beat the ball over the net. I expected her to do the job. Other coaches would come up to me and they say, "Wow, did you see the play number 3 made?" Or parents would come and they say, "Did you see what number 3 did?" And I just say, "Yeah, whatever." I expected Sarah to make that play, and I probably took her for granted too much. And she's been with me ever since I've been here. This is my 3rd year coaching, and she's been at the JV level with me for 3 years. And I don't know what I'm going to do without her next year. It won't be the same. Finally, I'd like to thank Josie for accommodating us with gym times to fit my schedule. Well, almost all the time. I would also like to thank Brent Baker for all his support and great advice whenever I needed it, although I pretty much never needed it. Also, I'd like to thank Tina Ducharme. She does such an outstanding job at the modified level. I mean, I have so much talent coming through. I really couldn't do it without her. And it has a lot to do with Tina because I'm not the greatest coach in the world. So she's doing a really good job down there at the modified level, and she makes me look better. So here's to you, Tina. I'd also like to thank the parents for getting the girls here, waiting up late at night when we have away games. I'd like to thank my part-time manager, Amanda Mavor. She was there most of the time anyway. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Tara's mom for making me subs from the Saranac Lake game. I think I had 5 this year. That's a record for me. That's it. Thank you very much. I almost forgot my other co-MVP, Sarah McDonald.
Volleyball team now. Yui Debo. Sarah Jeanette. Cameron King. Colin Fountain. Danielle Perrier. Dana Kelly. Jessica King. Susan Seymour. Amanda Brothers. Heather Manor. Manager Megan Duffy. Scorekeeper Kelly Guerin. Another scorekeeper, Jenna Guerin. Please welcome the varsity volleyball team and Coach Brent Baker.
It's that time of year to acknowledge all the people who have put endless hours into making our sports programs successful here at North Michigan Clinton. I would like to thank the parents for being faithful followers. I would like to thank Mrs. Gilroy, our AD, for keeping our ship afloat and sailing straight. I'd like to thank the Booster Club for their support and financial help. Thanks to Mr. Musso for his help. Thanks to Mr. Castine for providing the ESPN-like TV coverage of our game. A special thanks to my wife Lori for putting up with the coaching hours. I'd like to acknowledge my modified coach, Tina Ducharme, and my JV coach, Matt Cass. They have spent hours of hard work preparing their athletes for the next level. I can't begin to tell you how important the next three girls have been to our volleyball program. You never hear much about them, but our practices and games would not be possible without them. Jenna and Kelly Guerin did a great job score-keeping, running the scoreboard, and helping with stats. Megan Duffy was manager, scorekeeper, extra player, and anything else we needed her to be. She did. All three girls are very much appreciated by me and the team. We thank them for their help. After losing to Peru in the sectionals, I was home watching the Winter Olympics with my wife. We were cheering for Michelle Kwan to win the gold medal in the women's figure skating competition. She fell during her routine and ended up winning the bronze medal. When she fell, she got back up and finished with class. When she completed her routine, she was overheard saying, "I didn't quit." I couldn't help comparing the seniors on the volleyball team to Michelle Kwan. Kwan's quest was the goal. Ours was to put a CVAC banner up on the wall, up on the gymnasium wall. Each dream requiring hours of hard work and tough competition. Knowing that dreams don't always come true, sports offers no guarantees or personal satisfaction. But the seniors, like Kwan, stayed focused and endured the highs and lows that come with an athlete's dream. When Kwan fell on the ice during the Olympics, I wondered if she was thinking of how quickly time had passed during her career and how elusive dreams can be. And for the seniors on the volleyball team, as each time the ball touched their side of the court in the playoff game, they too must have been thinking how fast the last few years have passed and how elusive dreams truly can be. Like Michelle Kwan, the seniors did not quit. They finished their final game with class. They maintained a high quality of respect throughout the league for our program. I thank the seniors for a great season, for you are all or as Danielle would say in her southern accent, y'all are winners. To address the modified players, JV players, and returning varsity players, take the time and effort during the off-season to train and learn more about the game. There are no guarantees for the future, but there is this reality. I quote Ed Macaulay, "When you're not practicing, remember, someone somewhere is practicing. And when you meet him, he will win, or in this case, she." So I say to you players returning, your time is coming faster than you realize. Soon you will be seniors. You will have your last chance to hang the banner on the wall. Now I'd like to say a little something about my players. Heather Maynard, she did a great job this year. She filled in the setter position when Dana Kelly was injured. She kept the team going the right direction by running our offense. Jessica King, she had a tough job. She would have to come into games cold, get into the flow of the play as either a passing specialist or a defensive specialist. She has worked hard to improve her all-around play. Susan Seymour has started to show signs that she can be an offensive threat. Next season could be her time to shine, a time she's worked hard for the last 3 years. Danielle Perrier, a.k.a. the Tennessee Tornado. She's a whirlwind of a player and a good all-around athlete. Danielle played many positions, setter, opposite hitter, and some strong side hitters. She helped fill some big holes this season. She has a rocket serve. She blasted 29 aces. She made Tennessee proud. Dana Kelly had another great season. She's our setter and also our designated singer. And may I add, she does both. If not for an injury, she would have had over 300 plus assists for the season. That's just really great. But unfortunately, she was hurt. And what was it, gym class, Coach Katz? Don't worry, I'm not going to give you any advice. So. Tamara King. At this time last year, I don't think she knew what this season would bring. She had to make some big adjustments before the season started. Being a team player, she unselfishly gave up a position she liked, setter, to become a hitter. As a hitter, she made major contributions to the team's success. Tara Jeanette ended an outstanding 4 years as a starter at the varsity level. This season as an offensive weapon, she served 109 points, had 78 kills. She was a top-rate passer and played great defense, always dazzling the crowd with spectacular plays. Tara also served as team captain over the last 2 seasons. Hollywood Fountain also has been a captain the last 2 seasons. She was second on the team with 37 aces served. She served up 106 points and 67 kills. Holly was voted on the NAC's Invitational All-Tournament team and was an honorable mention for the CVAC All-Stars. Congratulations. Amanda Brothers was brought up to the varsity level as a freshman to watch and learn from some very good players. We also wanted her to become a better jumper, too. She has improved in both aspects. Amanda gave the team a boost a few times this season when we really needed it. Next year, she'll be our main middle blocker. Her teammates have voted Amanda the most improved player on the team. Congratulations. Yuiko Gibo, Yui, the girl who just loves to play volleyball. Yui's a natural at this sport, with a never-ending smile. You knew she played for the love of the game. Yui was a team player, always cheering her teammates on. She led the team in points served with 233. She had 52 aces, a team high in kills with 131. Yui was voted to the Saranac Invitational All-Tournament team, named to the Plattsburgh State Invitational All-Tournament team, named MVP of the Plattsburgh State Invitational. She was voted MVP of the team by her teammates and she was voted MVP of the CVAC by the coaches. Congratulations, Julie. I want to thank the team for a great season and wish the seniors luck in the future.
I have a cold, so sorry. We're seniors, we don't prepare anything, so just bear with us. We'd like to thank everybody for coming to our games. Megan and Jen and Kelly. Being a senior, I looked forward to this for the past 3 years, and then it finally came, and it's kind of upsetting. Like Coach was saying, you wait till that ball hits the floor the last time, and it's just, you just break down, because that was your last chance. I'd just like to thank everybody for this good season that we've had. We've done a pretty good job. We've had 2 outsiders of Tennessee and Japan. So we had to adapt 2 new people to our system. They did an excellent job. So did everybody else. Still can't tell them apart. That's it.
Sarah, would you stay down here, please? Roy Mitchell, would you come down to the front? In each sports season, the CVAC All-Academic Award is presented to 2 senior athletes in recognition of their contribution to and achievement in sport, as well as their success in academics. For the winter 2002 season, the award goes to Tara Jeanette from volleyball. And Roy Mitchell from the hockey team. The picture will go in the paper probably about 3 months from now, but it will go in the paper at some point. Thank you. I'd like to call down the girls and boys bowling teams.
I want to get a good spot.
Kristen Bayshard. Beth Grant. Katie Rabideau. Kelly Smart. Laura Lee Parra. Cassie Roberts. Megan Sorrell. Allison Sweeney. Natasha Generu. Kelsey Giso. And Marlena Holo. For the girls. Andrew Barco. James Carey. John Gadway. Nate Roberts. Brian Baker. Jeremy Ballard. Adam Chipola. Bryce Gadway. Kelly Poisson. Jarrett Borey, Alan Maybor, James Tierney, Charles Martin, Josh Brent, Joe Hack, and Billy Seward. Please welcome our bowling team and their coach, Chris Welch.
We'll start off with the girls this year. They finished the year 35-21 in third place and finished sectionals in fourth place. This year we had 11 girls try out for the team, which was the most I can ever remember. And I've been with this team since 1990, so it's going back a long way. The girls were in the race all the way pretty much to the last couple weeks of the season, but Ticonderoga pulled away from everybody. This year we had two girls again represent Northeastern Clinton in Section 7 at the state tournament in Niagara Falls. And they are the most valuable players on the girls' team, Cassie Roberts and Kristen Bayshire. Most improved. This was a pretty simple choice on the girls' team. This girl raised her average from last year to this year, and just the way she improved dramatically is why Laura Lee Farah is the most improved player. I had 4 seniors for my girls, Kristen, Katie, Beth, and Kelly. They will all be missed next year. Kristen would keep going to the state tournament, but we wish we had her back and Beth and all them back for a couple more years because the girls had a good chance to win. And just a side note, Kristen was high at the state tournament for Section 7 for the girls. High average guy. On the boys' side, the boys finished the year 75-37, which was second place. Came right down to the last game against Sable Valley when we played them at home. The boys' A, which was James, Alan, Adam, Nate, and John, finished 37-19 for the year. And the B squad, which was Kelly, Bryce, Joe, Andy, Jarrett, and Jeremy was on a couple times, was 38-18. The boys were co-sportsmanship award winners this year, the third time in 4 years. This year, I know Calvin always says he comes to our games for 2 reasons. One, he's going to see somebody pick up a 7-10 split eventually, and to see a 300 game. This year, we got to see a 300 game. Unfortunately, it was an away game at Plattsburgh, which the atmosphere was just amazing when it came down to the last couple balls from the kid from PHS. But I was so proud of the kids because it could have been so easy to get caught up. They ended up pulling it out in the 10th frame and actually winning the game, which kept them alive for the CBAC title. One highlight during the year, our second game of the year against Mariah, they shot a 3,200 plus scratch score against them. That's over a 210 average apiece. It's one of the highest scores in the section's history. This was, on the boys' side, the best team in this league. No doubt in anybody's mind. You put the sectional scores from the A and B together, they beat every other school by over 700 pins. But unfortunately, they came up just shy at the sectional tournament. The boys A were 350 pins down going into the second set. Just to put that in other terms, it's like being down 4-0 in hockey going into the last period, or down 20 plus points in basketball going into the fourth quarter. And they almost came back to 1. They came up just a hair short. But just to prove how good this team is, Josh, our little guy in the middle there, he's in 8th grade. And one of the requirements that the state has for bowling is if you are in 7th and 8th grade, you have to make the top 8 in average to play in the top 10. Josh started after the practices, he had 160 average and was 9th. And he couldn't play in the top 10. He would have made, maybe with the exception of 1, every other A team in the league. Next year he's coming into 9th grade and will have an excellent chance of making the A team. This year we had 4 qualifiers to the state tournament: Nate, Alan, Adam, and James. And Nate was high for Section 7. He averaged 213 down in Niagara Falls. Most improved. This was the easiest choice I had to make. I knew what I had coming back this year, which was a very good team. I knew all these players, but one who did not play last year tried out for the team this year. And when I saw him the first practice, I thought there was no way he's going to make the team. But he ended up making the team in the 10th spot and improved during the year and raised his average 10 plus pins during the year. Most improved player is Bryce Gadwin. Most valuable. I have 2 most valuable players. They're pretty much the same as last year. First most valuable player is probably one of the most outspoken guys in the team. You see him at sectionals at the state tournament. He gets so riled up. And actually at the state tournament, I had to keep an eye on him. His girlfriend also went down to the state tournament from another school. They ended up getting rooms right next to each other. I don't know how that happened. We had to keep an eye on him. But my first most valuable player is James Tierney. My second most valuable player is one of the best players to come out of Northeastern Clinton. He is a 4-time state qualifier, Nate Roberts. Okay, just people to thank and then I'm finished. I'd like to thank John Roberts and the Walmart staff. They make it so easy for these kids, charging them pretty cheap rates and so accommodating for all the kids. Jim Tierney, who runs the youth bowling league on Saturday mornings. Without Jim Tierney, just about all these kids would not be here and I wouldn't be here. All right, he keeps the youth bowling alive. And I'm losing Nate, John, Andy this year, 3 of my top 6. But I got 3 more coming up that maybe not next year, but the year after that, they're going to fill their shoes. And Josh, Joe, and Billy. I'd like to thank all the parents who showed up to all the games. I had some travel with Ticonderoga and Mariah, and those are long trips for them. I'd like to thank our bus drivers. I know the kids are happy when they see one particular bus driver. He happens to be one of the parents of the kids. I think he took us to every game but one. So he's good with the kids, or he lets them do just about anything. I'd like to thank Calvin Castine and Hometown Cable for coming to tape our games. I know we don't have exactly the most exciting sport to see on TV, but he's there every game to tape our games. I'd like to thank Mrs. Gilroy in the athletic department. I think we only have one game that was canceled due to the weather, which I know makes her job easier, makes my job easier. But everything was done super. Without her, I don't know what would happen. Finally, I'd like to thank all these players. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Their dedication and hard work, just keep them going. If you ever go up to the bowling alley, they're there. They're all there bowling and practicing. I hope to see all these kids back next year. To all you seniors, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you can come back and see us once in a while.
This year wasn't the best year for our team, for sure it was fun. From our first game on the 2-hour bus ride to Ticonderoga, singing about Chucker's mom, to states where we did lots of stuff, like sing about his mom again. Anyways, though we didn't win anything that big, no section championship or anything, we did win the sportsmanship award again. Looking back, I can tell we deserved it. We needed to win against PHS, as you heard our coach say, second to last match so we could stay in striking range of Sable for first. Our very good friend Eric Stevens went to the last frame with a perfect game going, and even knowing that if he got us 300, it might make us lose the CBAC championship. All 10 of us were on our feet cheering him on. I think this was more important than the banner in the gym or the trip to States. This team has been together for 4 years now, and it's been great. On any given day, you'll find a group of us together eating at Sandy's Deli, playing some chess, or even bowling. All of us are friends, and close friends at that. I think that when we're all older, and we'll look back, we'll like this and appreciate this more than winning, and even more than the hot girls you see at States. In closing, I'd like to say thank you to a few people. First, to my dad, who taught almost all of us here how to bowl, and for his excellent commentating on hometown cable. Also thanks to Calvin for taping us, John Roberts for letting us practice for free and everything else he does at Walmart, and for the volleyball girls who didn't show up to one single match this year. Very disappointed. And I'd just like to say thank you to our coach for giving us another great year of bowling, and hope to see you back next year. Thank you. Very expensive gift. We spent lots of money on it.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Laura, you and I have pictures with you? What?
I hope Chucker's mom sees that. Sing about Chucker.
The second session of our 2001-2002 Winter Sports Recognition Night. I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our coaches. They put in a tremendous amount of time and effort with our athletes, and I want them to know that the dedication to the Northeastern Clinton athletic program does not go unnoticed. I'd like to thank Lisa Menard for typing the certificates and Kathy Devins for typing the program. Tonight we will recognize the students who participated in cheerleading and basketball. We've had many successes this winter, and we're proud of all our athletes' accomplishments. In addition to their athletic talents, 45 of these players earned high honors in academics while participating in the winter season. On behalf of the coaching staff, I wish the best for our seniors who have performed in these sports at Northeastern for the last time, and encourage our returning athletes to work hard so that we can continue our program of excellence in the future. Our format tonight will be for each team to assemble up front as I call you down. We'll introduce the athletes on the team as the coach gives out their awards packet. Please hold your applause until the end of the introductions for each team. The coach can then comment on individual and team accomplishments. I ask that all members of the audience be patient and respectful of the coaches while they are speaking about their team and their athletes, and I will also ask that everyone remain in the auditorium for the full session. First team I would like to have come down front is the cheerleading team. Stephanie Gaudette. Jen Hampton. Amy Boyer. Kylie LaFave. Missy Kopp. Sarah Babby. Krista Barcombe. Marcy Brasser. Sarah Bushy. Jen Newfie. Melody Jennings. Lisa LaBelle. Liz Allison. Courtney DeMars. Ryan Hampton. Bailey Trahan. Please welcome our cheerleading team and their coach, Sarah Hunter.
Well, there's all I have to say. We had a great season this year. They all worked hard learning the cheers, the cheers and the stunts. I think I can say this is the best year yet. It's the largest team I've ever had. And I usually start out with about this many and end up with about 8 or 9. And I actually started out with 17 and ended up with 16. I couldn't ask for a better team. I'll start right off with my most improved. There's a lot I could say about each and every one of them, but that would take all night. And I'm sure there's a couple of things that they don't want me to remember anyway. Each one of them has improved a great deal. When I first started out the season, I really wasn't sure how everything was going to go. As most of you know from seeing me in the halls for practices and at games, I was about 8 months pregnant when the season started. And each one of these kids stepped up and knew that they had to get the job done, they had to work hard, and they had to take a lot of responsibility on their own. And they were able to do it. The person I chose for my most improved player is one, again, of many. I probably could have handed out about 10 out of 16. So it was one of the hardest things I had to choose this year, and I chose this person because she came in, she worked really hard, she was very afraid to do anything at first, and before you knew it, she was one of my flyers, she was going up and everything, and she did it well, and I'd like to thank Krista. Along those same lines, I have to give special thanks to Carol Babby, who, sorry. Wow, I was crying, I didn't even plan on it. She did so much. The week I had the baby, she did so much. Josie allowed her to come in and work with the girls with the understanding that there was no stunting to be done. And she did the job. In fact, I don't think they even noticed when I came back to practices. She was just the second coach that I could never, ever thank enough. So thank you, Carol. Along with Carol's help, I had 2 exceptional seniors that were also my captains. The 2 of them picked up and helped Carol when she wasn't sure what was needed to be done. I know I could count on them. I could call them at the last minute, and they would call everybody to tell them practices were canceled. I could just count on them for anything. When I brought the baby to practices and things weren't going so well with the baby, I could trust them to lead practice while I stood there and held the baby and calmed her down or whatever, although she normally didn't do that a whole lot. So at this time, I'd like to give each of my seniors a very special gift. And step. As being my seniors, one of them has been one of my best cheerleaders throughout. She has given me 110% every year that she has cheered for me. She has never, well, I can't say she never questioned anything I've said or done, but she always seems to have a comment to go with it. My most valuable player is definitely Jen Hampton. Finally, real quick, I have to say a special thank you to my husband, who put up with an awful lot. I mean, for the 5 years that I've coached, he's always been the somewhat assistant coach, the music man, the equipment man, the babysitter this year, the second coach who's quick to give his opinion on what everything looks like. And the team really supported him well, so I have to give him a special thank you. Because without my husband, I don't think that I could have coached throughout the season. And I don't think this team could have taken a fourth place finish at competition without all the help that I've gotten this year. So thank you, everybody.
So I'm obviously Jen Hampton, and this is Steph Goodette. We'd like to start off by thanking all the people who helped us this past year. My father, Mr. Hampton, Steph's mom, Ms. Goodette, Carol Babby, Mr. Gallagher, the Booster Club for sponsoring our great banner that we have this year, the chaperones for all the dances we had, Mr. Musso, thank you very much, Mr. Rasco, and all the fans and the basketball players that came to competition and supported us. That was great. Cody and Caleb for doing music, Chuck for always being there and always telling us what he thought. Most importantly, obviously, our coach. We'd like to thank you for pushing us when we asked and pushing us harder when we didn't. Thank you for being there for all the times that we needed you. We love you very much. We have a poem that one of the girls, Kyla Faith, who's not here, wrote for competition tonight, and I think it really just sums up our year. At the onset of the season, we had a lot to gain. Thanks for putting up with us, even when we're a pain. Thanks for believing in us, making us the best, and telling us to do it for ourselves and not for all the rest. Now it's competition time, and the season's at an end. We're not just losing our cheering coach, we're losing our best friend. So when we're at comp tonight, watch closely what we do. Every stunt we hit, the smiles we show, will be because of you. We will run onto the floor with an enthusiastic burst. And even if we get 500th place, it will feel like first. And when it's all over, the squad will shed a tear. Because you never gave up on us, you're the coach of the year. Thank you very much.
Years of cheering. We will never forget any of you guys and all of our inside jokes and nicknames like Fruit Loop, Get a Woody Fart Comb, and High C. Thank you guys for working so hard this year so we could place, and even though we didn't, we all know we did. Next year, you guys are going to work even harder so you can earn a trophy to put up in the case in the lobby. We'll miss you guys, and we'll both be in the front row watching you next year. We have just a few last words for you. Whoa! Ho! Good luck!
I'll never know. Brandon.
Corey Letourneau. Mike Brown. Brandon Sample. Brad Tran. Jesse Wright. Aaron Batchelder. Stephen Beckwith. James Frankie. Jonathan Hardigan. Kyle Kent. Matt Marshall. Matt Phillips. Colby Brothers. Keith Newbury. Ryan LeCount. Manager Andrew Baser. Please welcome the Modified A boys basketball.
I think there was one certificate missing, but we'll definitely take care of that. Sarah and the girls, they're like the Rodney Dangerfields of our program. They just don't get enough respect. And all of us as winter coaches, we know that these girls have really stepped it up around here. And Sarah and those girls and that young man, thank you, did a wonderful job. I didn't get to see them as much as I can because I have to come home a lot of times and not be able to see the varsity. But they're about as supportive of this school as anybody can be, and they deserve a big round of applause. I have a lot of thanks to Josie. She couldn't do any more for me than what she did during the season as far as communications go with me, and I'm not quite sure what's going on now and then, and having to call at the last minute to change things. And it was nice to have a working relationship with her like that, and I really respect her for that. Thanks to all the coaches, girls coaches with varsity right on down through. A lot of times I might have to change practices and juggle times around, and they were very supportive of that and did a lot to help me. The same thing with my two fellow basketball coaches, Orville, like I said, with the cheerleaders. A lot of times I couldn't attend his game, and hard to attend mine, but communications was still there and very much appreciated. And Rob, I can't say enough about Rob. A lot of times, last minute, as Rob take my practice, I have to leave town or do this and that. And Rob was so supportive, and not only as a good friend, but he's really helping this basketball program a lot. And I was going to speak a little bit on some of our modified sports and the losing of the modified B program and how important it is to our sports. But he's got a little more on it, and when he's speaking about it, listen closely to it, because we need your help out there to get those modified sports back again. Special thanks goes out to Norm Bonham. A couple times at the last second, my cell phone would ring and I'd have to leave, and I could call Norm, and Norm would show up in the gym and take my practice for me, and very much appreciated. Thanks to all my parents, especially Barb and Dennis. They had a nice pizza party for our club, our last game of the year. It was held at their house, and I never realized that not just the basketball talent that is coming up through the program, but we have a nice group of young singers here. I should have brought a karaoke machine. We probably got a pretty good show. Along with some of the parents, I didn't realize they had such good voices. And thanks to Calvin, when he could, he did our games and always does an excellent job. And sometimes the boys dislike it when their game's on TV because I use it for a little ammunition. especially when it said, well, I didn't do that, coach. Well, you just hang on a second. You watch this game and you'll see what I mean. That's very helpful. That's something we should very much support. And thanks to my team manager, Andrew, he did an excellent job. If there was an MVP award for a manager, this young man would definitely deserve it. I have a little something for him, and if you come forward, I'll give you that. That's yours. Thank you very much. My final thanks is thanks to my wife Roxy, everything she's going through and still has to go through. She's still very much supportive of me, and still concerned how's the team going and all that business. It's always comforting to have somebody that good of a person to support you, and I really appreciate that. And my team, they've come a long ways, 110%, I have to say, all year long. Every practice came prepared. We're ready. When it was time to come on the gym, they were there. And that's a big key, because to me, we can play all the games in the world we want, but practice, that's my time, and they know it. And when they came to practice, 90 minutes or 2 hours, they worked from the beginning and they worked to the end. And I'm sure some of the parents out there, when some of these young lads went home, they were a little bit tired, but it paid off. We started the season, the last couple of years, I'll start right from there, we've been taking our licks, and I changed my coaching style a little bit, and I realized that after the first couple of games this year, we got spanked pretty good by, I believe, Saranac and Saranac Lake, and I could see that there was a little boom going on, and I walked by the locker room, and I heard someone say, well, we lost again. Well, I'm a big preacher of knowing how to lose and being a gentleman after a loss, but I think I was harping on it a little bit too much. So I decided, oh, I got to change things around a little bit. And yeah, the sun changed, and I upset a few people doing that, but it wasn't meant to make somebody mad. But I had to get kind of a winning attitude going again in this program. So by Christmas time, we were 3-3, and I think they were starting to believe that, doing the same basic things over and over in practice, it might have got a little boring, but it was starting to wear out, and their confidence level was building. And I think all 15 guys were starting to realize what their spot was on that team. And, my hats are off to the bottom 5, because what they did is made that team so much better by making them work so much harder in practice. And in the end, I think it was a reward for everybody. After the Christmas holidays were done, we won, I believe, our last 7 out of 8 ball games. And we beat Seton. It was a huge win. We took Peru right to the 4th quarter. We took PHS right to the 4th quarter. And everything was going well. And I think it was a good experience to get that confidence level back. But it took a lot of hard work, a lot of adjustments, and it paid off for them, because they ended up 10-4, and that was a very good record. And my thanks go to them for all the hard work, and I'd like to give them a good round of applause. My most improved player goes to a young man that gives it his all. Maybe not gifted, maybe not the natural athlete that just steps out there and it comes easy. This guy has to work for everything he does. And he just became a horse, to put it that way, on that court. He got nasty, and he learned how to clean the boards. He's not the prettiest shot in the world, but he was ferocious on the boards, got us big rebounds, got us going down the court. And that most improved player, and this guy really deserves it, is Jesse Wright. I have 2 most valuable players. These 2 gentlemen, I think one of them might have did one thing wrong out of the 2 the whole year long. And I think I walked into practice and I saw a tube hanging from one of the cables in the gym, and he might have tossed that up there. But he owned up to it and got it down. But I made him sweat for a little while thinking about what I was going to do. And these 2 boys were team leaders, right from the get-go. In practice, 110%, and it was just leadership showing the other boys that what we got to get to. And these two boys definitely deserve it. Most valuable players go to Aaron Batchelor and Brad Train. Thanks.
Well, we had a pretty good season, 10-4. Beginning of the season, we weren't too good. Not gonna lie. But coach, he pushed us. If we had a most valuable coach, it would be Mr. Dumas. Taught us how to play better and got our confidence level pretty far up. By the end of the season, we were beating teams like Seton, who were undefeated for 2 years straight. There were good times, there were bad times, suicides, but we kept through it. The toque and all that. Brandon tripping over the ball during suicides. Long bus rides home. And the lectures. But for the most part, it was pretty fun. Learned a lot. And had a pretty good season. I'd like to thank Mr. Dumas, all the coaches that helped us when he couldn't be there. Fellow teammates, Calvin, and the fans who supported us all the way. That's about it.
Mr. Dumas, during the season, you were thinking about having this last year as your coaching year, and as soccer players strongly hope that you reconsider this and at least give it one more year.
Yes.
We got a little something here.
We have the JV boys basketball team down front.
Boy, you're a celebrity. It's like whole team, huh? Go ahead, coach.
Jeremy Ashline. Adam Dutil. Kevin O'Connor. Tom Babby. Tyler Bayshard. Lucas Dunn. Mike O'Connor. Mike Barbacco. Quentin Teeple. The managers, Corey Davison, Casey Guerin, Tyler Sample. Please welcome our boys JV basketball team and their coach, Rob Guerin.
great pleasure, I'd like to take the opportunity to speak to you about this year's junior varsity boys basketball team. The team worked very hard and should be pleased with their accomplishments this season. Each athlete came to practice daily determined to improve their individual as well as team skills. The team completed the season with an overall record of 10-8. Some of the highlights of the season were winning the junior varsity basketball tournament, defeating Saranac, as well as being victorious over Peru, giving Peru its only loss of the season. This year's team defeated every Class B school except for Saranac Lake. Looking back on the biggest accomplishment of the season is how the team came together, finishing the season with just 7 players and being successful against the larger schools. The one drawback for the season is that we were unable to play a game this year with our full roster due to continuous injuries or players that were academically ineligible. At this time, I'd like to talk about individual players on this year's squad. Kevin O'Connor did a good job getting the ball up the court. Kevin has one of the best shots in the league and is an enjoyable player to coach. Kevin was my only active returning player this season, did a good job being the team leader. Jeremy Ashline, I'd always had injured associated with Jeremy Ashline, was injured a lot this season. Jeremy is an aggressive ball player, was very effective on defense. Jeremy can run the floor with just about anybody. Adam Dutel has probably the most team spirit of anyone I have ever coached. Sometimes a little too much. Adam worked real hard throughout the season working on individual skills and scored the last basket of the season. Tyler Basher had taken a few years off basketball due to problems with his knees. Tyler grabbed a lot of rebounds and was a key defensive player for our team. Tyler is always eager to learn and working hard to become a better player. Tyler will be a very, very big role to our team's success next year. Mike O'Connor did not see an abundance of playing time, but got the job done when he was on the floor. Mike also has a very good shot and will continuously improve due to the fact that he loves the game so much and is always playing. Lucas Dunn was also injured most of the season. The few games that Lucas did participate, you won't find anyone that hustles more. Lucas has a great attitude and puts forth great effort. Lucas will be very valuable to the success of our team next year if we can keep him healthy. Quentin Teeple played as well as any coach could expect from a player for their first year at the junior varsity level. Quentin is a bull down low on the boards and just refuses to give up. Quentin works very hard on defense and is a great team player. Tom Babby had a slow start at the beginning of the season. Tom's shot was off and he was having a difficult time with his defensive game. Tom kept his head up and with determination to succeed, things quickly turned for the better. Tom, for his size, was huge for us defensively down low. Tom's entire game improved so much, and that was due to the fact of him continuing to come in the gym night after night, striving to reach his maximum potential. For this, I give my Most Improved Player Award to Tom Babbitt. Michael Frabacco also had a slow start to the season. I often doubted after the first few games that Michael was ready for the junior varsity level. Michael and I spoke about what he needed to do, and once he gained confidence, Michael's game took major strides. Michael had many games this year in double figures. Michael has a deadly shot and can run the floor very well. If his drive for excellence continues, Michael is going to have some huge games at NCCS during his career. I also give the Most Improved Player Award to Michael Frabacco. I have truly enjoyed working with the team, as well as you, the parents. One thing we can always say about our program is we have good kids. This is due to the supportive environment that our school community provides for all of our students, as well as you, the parents, the guidance you give at home. Our boys program is looking good, and we have to continuously work hard and reevaluate our goals and expectations to keep our program improving. We'll be working hard to incorporate weight training, which can also be done in the off-season, as well as attending camps, and when the gym is open, being present. This is also the time for you, the parents, when the budget workshops are being conducted, to let your voices be heard and speak about the value of our extracurricular activities that are provided for our students. As many of you may have known, as of right now, our budget is looking worse than it was last year. We lost several teaching positions and our Modified B program, and we're still looking at the same talk of money has to be cut somewhere. So if you really value, especially our modified sports, you need to be present at board meetings and let your voices be heard, because once that's eliminated, it's down the drain. I would also like to thank Cheryl Dunn for keeping score throughout the year. At this time, if Cheryl is out there somewhere, would you please come up? I would also like to thank some of the managers that have worked with us this season: Eric Bayshard, Casey Guerin, Tyler Sampo, Corey Trombley, Corey Davis, and Matt Frabacco. I would also like to thank our youth coaches for continuously providing a quality program for our elementary students. It's nice to have consistent faces working with our kids. A big thank you to Frank and Orville for their continuous support in the program. Most of all, I'd like to thank you, the team, for a great season. The direction of our program continues on your determination to be at your best. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to, there we go. I would like to start by thanking a few people first. I would first like to thank Mrs. Dunn for attending all our games and keeping it up for us this season. I would also like to thank Mr. Calvin Castine for taping all of our games. I would also like to thank all the parents and fans for attending the games. I would like to thank the Mrs. Ankoviak and Mr. Moose Lisek for keeping the clock at all of our games, Mr. Jerry Davison for helping with some practices, and lastly, of course, Mr. Guerin for being our coach. He's not a miracle worker, because I'm still not the greatest player in the game. We ended up with a over 500 winning percentage, so it was a good season. Things weren't always serious. I'd like to think I was kept on the team for comic relief, so to speak. We had a few good times. At the beginning of the season was a little rocky. I knocked some people over, and then I fouled out in 6 minutes of play in the Cougar game. Then on the last game of the season, I got a little overzealous and knocked Tommy over. And then the not so good times were marked by Mr. Guerin being one of his grumpy spells on a daily basis. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me ramble on here. I wish you all to have a quiet, restful evening.
And the varsity boys basketball team down front. Ryan Delaney, Matt Guerin, Chris Castine, Mike Castine, Josh Davison, Ben Doody, Jared Jarvis, Brad Miller, Casey Richard, Dan Trombley, Garrett Woodward, and the scorekeeper Adam Guto. Please welcome our boys varsity team and coach over there.
I would like to take this time to thank Calvin again for taking me to the game. I especially like to thank the cheerleaders and Sarah because this was a special year. She took a group that could have been junior varsity and some varsity and made a varsity team. And they were special. It was from the heart. They really cheered every game for us. And like up at Step Lake, we went into overtime and they were there. And it was only them, one parent, and the team, I guess. So we did a good job, and they were a special group, and they're going to be excellent in the years to come. I would also like to thank Frank and Robbie for an excellent job, and especially under some of the circumstances. And again, we have to thank the girls program for their excellent teams. They did another great job. And that's sort of always year after year after year, the girls are so successful. And for us as the boys program, we have to work extremely hard to be competitive. And I think we've done quite a good job. From 2 years ago, we won 2 games, and last year we won 4. And that, like I said to the guys, you don't even improve 100% from the year before. Well, this group was even special. They improved 150% because we won 10 games this year. So they did a good job. And also, there were a very young group of guys, 2 seniors and the rest were juniors. And that brings to the point I want to recognize, and they are special. They're going to be back next year. We're going to be very competitive, and if you get a chance, we'd like to see a very quick team with some excellent shooters and play aggressive basketball. This would be the year to watch them. Also, looking back, we have an excellent junior varsity team intact, and we also have a nice modified A program coming. So the program is here, and we hope we can continue having it. But like Robbie said, we can't throw away the modified B program for many years until it be successful. It has to be kept in place. Again, we ended up with a 10-10 season. We played a team that in the sectional Peru that beat us by 20-some points the week before. We learned from that mistake. They were very aggressive, and we started off again about 15 points behind, but we were able to, by the end of the game, go ahead for a short period of time, and we really gave them a run for their money, and they ended up winning Section 7, so that's a lot of hope for us for next year. And I think we will do quite well. At this time, I just want to recognize my players. I had only 2 seniors, and this would be a good example. Ryan Delaney and Matt Guerin. Both of these boys, if you would have watched them on the modified program or anything when they were in 7th grade, you would have said, they're not going to be basketball players. You know, and they were kind of weak and everything else. And Lord to behold, one of them got tall and the other one got kind of muscular, and they did all right for themselves. And in fact, like Ryan was a good inside the 4 spot, and he averaged about 5 points a game and did a great job on defense and rebounding. And I can't say enough for these guys and how well they improved and played the game. The nucleus of the team, we also have all the rest. We have some great guards for next year. We have great shooters, great guys on defense. When you look at all the team with Ben Duty and Jared Jarvis and Chris Castine and Danny Trombley, Mike Castine is coming back. We have Brad Miller, Casey Richard, Garrett Woodward, and Josh Davison. You know, there isn't a team next year, and I think they know I feel this way, that we should be afraid of and we can't compete with. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a definite win every time, but we're going to be there, and we're going to be a very good team. At this time, they all know that I think a lot of them, and it's a special team also because they probably were the best conditioned team I ever had. They would go through 30 minutes of exercises and running and everything else, and you never would hear a complaint. They would be the first one without even telling you to do so. They would go to the cage, get a basketball, and be ready to do their 10 laps. And in some of my years before, if you even mentioned a cage, the guy would be moaning and groaning. Well, these are special guys. So at this time, I could give most improved players without anybody on the team.
And so we did something special this year today where anybody could receive an award. We put it out that we all voted on it, not just me, but everybody had equal say in voting for a most valuable player and voting for most improved. So we did that, and then we did the counting and calculating. And two people, I think they hit it right on the head as a team. They picked for most improved players. They were probably my 8th and 9th player at the start of the season. Never complained, kept on working, and they became key parts of the program at the end of the season. So the first most valuable player I want to talk about is Casey Richard, who had to play in the big man position, even though he should be a guard, and he also played a guard position. He did anything I asked for. He was extremely quick, and he's definitely going to be a plus for our program next year with a lot of playing time. So I'd like to introduce Casey Richard as one of the most improved players. The second most improved player was a person that always played defense, did an excellent job, claimed that he lost about 15 to 20 pounds during the basketball season through all the work I was putting him through. But he turned out to be a guy that was going to go in there, never complained, and then all at once something happened. I don't know if he got hit by lightning or whatever. He was beginning to hit three-point shots. And at the end of the year, he had 7 three-point shots, and I think in the last 5 games. And I'd like to introduce a guy we're really counting on next year, Brad Miller. Finally, for most valuable player, unanimous most valuable player, and I think if you were watching our program, he was really the bread and butter of the guy under the boards doing the dirty work and getting the rebounds and keeping the team going. He was also a guy that this year improved his low post moves very much. They were much quicker, much more accurate when he took the shots. And finally, the thing that really, really improved and helped all of us was he was getting 4 or 5 assists every game, looking from high post to low post guys cutting. Without him, it would have been very hard to put the program at a competitive level at 10 and 10, but he definitely deserves to be most valuable player, Mike Gaston. And finally, in closing again, I hope you get a chance next year. I know the girls are going to be extremely competitive, so are we. Give us a chance to get a time to come see us play. And finally, I have to recognize the guy who kept my scoreboard. Probably the best scorekeeper in the whole county. If you don't believe me, ask him, he'll tell you.
We had a great season this year, breaking NAC's 19-game winning streak, winning the Bobcat Shootout, beating Saranac Lake by 20 points, and winning against teams we thought we'd never beat. And we would like to thank all the people that made the season possible. First, the cheerleaders. They did an outstanding job this season. We don't know what we'd do without them. They got us through a lot of rough times this season. Calvin Casson and Hometown Cable. We appreciate all he does for us and our school. Hannah and Koviak for keeping the scoreboard. Richard Castine for singing at the seniors game. Adam Dutail for keeping the scorebook and on account of relief. Corey Tremblay, Corey Davison, and Casey Guerin for everything they did for our team. All of our seniors whom we will greatly miss next year. And most of all, Coach Nettle, who believed in us and led us to a great season. Except for that Tupper Lake game. Thank you.
Before I call the next team up, I'd just like to do a special thanks, as a couple people have mentioned already, to Hannah Koviak. She volunteers her time to run the score clock at all of the home games, and also to Moose Misek, who kept the shot clock. They're extremely dedicated people and very reliable and come to every game. I really appreciate their help. Now can we have the girls modified A basketball team? Sarah Delude, Jess Gadway, Betsy Macy, Leanne Carson, Kelly Fulbert, Shelby Sterling, Darby Turner, Brittany Bailey, Jordan Clark, Marianne Doody, Alex Forey, Tricia LaValle, Emily O'Hara, Gretchen Thone, Sarah Winters, Manager Danielle Boris. Please welcome our girls modified A basketball team and Coach Dave Lambert.
Every year at the modified level, we always experience a large number of turnovers from players from the previous year. This year was certainly no exception. After all the tryouts were finished, decisions were made. I ended up with only 3 girls out of 15 from the previous year's team. Well, this told me that not only will we have a good and experienced team, but we probably not have as good a record as in the past. I had 3 ninth graders this year: Jess Gadway, Betsy Macy, Sarah DeLu. Jess and Betsy remembered last year's team. Sarah joined us from Albert. I picked on these 3 probably a little more than the rest, as I know this 9th graders did a tough road ahead. I hope you listened to all I had to say, and I really believe, girls, if you work hard this summer, continue in our JV program next year, you got a very good chance. Good luck to all 3 of you. 4 8th graders on our team this year. Haley Fulbert was the other returning player from last year. She's joined by Leanne Carson, Darby Turner, and Shelby Sterling. Those 3 girls came off our Modified B program that we surely missed this year. These girls have all improved tremendously and all have great attitudes. They all show willingness to listen and to learn. There are 8 7th graders rounding out our team, 8 of them. Brittany Bailey, Alex Forey, Marianne Doody, Gretchen Thone, Sarah Winter, Emily O'Hara, Tricia LaValle, and Jordan Clark. All these players, for the last 4, probably 5 years for some of them, played against each other in our local youth commission league. And good time to say thank you to all the coaches of those leagues. They did an excellent job. Well, all those years they played against each other, now they have to get used to playing together. And at first there were a few bumps, I expected that. But by mid-season, most of the bumps have been worked out. These girls showed steady improvement throughout the season, and I'm looking forward to working with them again next year. Despite my initial concerns, since this seemed to be a rebuilding year, we had a very good season. We finished with 11 wins and just 3 losses. In 2 of those losses, we lost by a total of 3 points. So I hope the girls enjoy themselves this year and to continue to improve their skills, and I'm sure we're going to enjoy much more success. When I give out awards at the end of the year, it's always a difficult decision. When deciding my most improved player, I look for several things. Ball handling, very good. Shooting, passing, the ability to get along with others, and the willingness to listen to all the coaches, not just myself, but all of them. Alex Forey has shown me all these things and more. She's just a great kid, great person, and she's very well on her way to becoming a very good basketball player. She has a great future here at Northeastern. I really believe that. I wish you all the best, Alex, and I hope in years to come you continue to improve. My most improved player, Alex Corey. When you think of your MVP, especially at the modified level, you think of a girl that's going to lead your team. Someone that'll take charge during the game and at the beginning of practices when things are a little hectic. And the biggest thing, I think, is someone who will help out her fellow teammates, but do it in a friendly way. This is my second year of coaching Haley Fulbear, and I enjoyed coaching her tremendously. I pick on her in practice, I think, almost every night. Every time we switch the lanes to the fouls or the layups, and she's always smiling, and I don't know what she's thinking, but I hope it's good. I don't know. Haley, I'm sure you're going to make a great addition to JV team next year. You've done so much this year. Mr. Bard, I think you'll be quite pleased with your building. So my most valuable player, Haley Fulbear. I'd just like to take a couple seconds to congratulate the boys team. I got all the other ones have already said so. After a couple down years, they really come back. And I get to see the modified team probably more than all the rest. A lot of times we share gyms, and after our games, they have practice, and after our practice, whenever they have games. So I see a lot. And a few practices there, when I get done mine, I see Frankie guy get going. And when he calls the huddle, he's got your attention. It's amazing. Those boys look at him, they must think he's God or something, because they're looking at him, and it's great to see, because their interest is there, and they've had a heck of a year. I was there the last few years, and they took some thumping. And I'll tell you what, this year, to me, they improved as a whole team tremendously. He said from 1 to 15, they're all great. They deserve really well. I also want to congratulate the girls, JV, and varsity teams. Both had great years. It's always a pleasure for me to sit at the end of the bench and watch these girls play. I see them progress as they move through different levels. And sometimes, when I'm watching my team and I'm shaking my head, saying, oh, why do you do that, why do you do this? And I see Mr. Bard's team, I do the same thing. I say, well, not as much as my team, but they still do it. Then when they get to varsity, the mistakes are still there, but they're very few and far between. It's amazing to watch them play. Year after year, and it makes me very proud watching girls play. Congratulations, girls. Just a couple of thank yous here. First, my wife Lisa. She wrote this, so I put her first. Every year there seems to be more and more running around, and she's always there to help me out. She also lends an ear when I come home from a frustrated practice or a game. I do a little venting. I want to thank all the parents. I mean, I've never had more attentive bunch, I guess. My practices, I had a lot of parents right at the practices. It's amazing. And they watch a lot, and they're very cooperative. They went to every game almost, Ticonderoga, Saranac Lake, all the faraway games. Thank you very much. Thank Josie. She always does a great job, like everyone's already said. She always helps me out. Ron, Bernie, Norm, and Andy. 4 of the greatest guys you want to meet when you're on a basketball court. Whenever I have trouble, situation rises, I ask these guys for help. They're more than willing to do whatever they want. And I have to thank my manager, Danny. I don't know if she's here tonight. Apparently not, but I got to go with something. But thank you to Danielle Bork, my manager. And of course, the final thank you goes to my team. I really enjoyed coaching girls this year. And I know sometimes you must think he's always hollering at this or that, but it's not. It's constructive criticism, as they say. And if I didn't do that, well, they keep doing the wrong things. But I enjoyed it, and I hope you all did too. I hope you all come back next year, wherever you land. Good luck. Okay? Thank you.
who stood out with all our thank yous. So first of all, we would like to thank all our families and friends who were supporting us when we needed it the most. Thanks a lot. All those extra cheers really helped when we were losing. Second, our great coach. He gave us the greatest season ever, and for some of us, it'll be our last season on modified basketball. Coach, this has been a great year. Thanks a lot for taking the time to coach us. Next, we would like to thank Mrs. Bushy. Thanks a lot for putting up with all of us all season long. It must have been pretty difficult, especially with Jess singing all the time. We'd also like to thank our manager, Danielle. You did a great job, and we all look forward to watching you play basketball and progress throughout your high school years. Our next shout-out goes to Calvin. Thank you, Calvin, for taping all our games and playing them on hometown cable. I'm sure every single one of us loves to watch ourselves play. And now, next thing you know, instead of being on hometown cable, we'll be on ESPN playing in the WNBA. Our last shout-out goes to Mrs. Gerard. Thank you for organizing all our games and making sure we had a way to them.
Now, we would like to let everyone know just how great of a season we really had. Usually at the end of the season, we have a pizza party to remember the good times and in our uniforms. Well, this year, we had Darby Turner on our team, and she must have just gotten done finishing her laundry. She brought in her uniform. She decided to hand in her underwear with it, so Coach was a little surprised at that. Also, we had a little bit of problems on the bench with Brittany. It was our first game, and Alex couldn't stop laughing because I guess Brittany had some gas problem, and she couldn't keep it under control, so she got a nickname Squeaker from that. We had a few fashion statements this season. We had a couple of people who went to this practice. I don't understand that, but it happened. We had mask wearings. But last, we would like to thank our coach. He always had a little bit of a problem with the backboard. He's had this problem for about 2 years now, so we decided to thank him, to solve the problem. And overall, we wouldn't like to say how much he missed, but it was somewhere around 107 shots throughout the whole season. So, yeah. And we got a little something for Danielle, but she's not here, so we'll have to give it to her some other time. Thank you, everybody.
Sarah Monty, Rachel Poirier, and our managers and scorekeepers, Megan Boris, Nicole LeBlanc, and Andrew Rabbit. Please welcome the girls' JV basketball team.
That's better. Welcome. I would first like to congratulate the varsity girls for an excellent season and for being league and sectional champs. Secondly, to the modified A team for a super season. I'm looking forward to coaching some of you next season. The JV basketball team had a challenging season. Our record was 16-4 overall, 12-4 league play. Most games were won or lost by no more than 12 points. The girls were focused and never lost sight of the true meaning of teamwork. I am proud to say that every practice and game, the girls demonstrated a strong sense of team support, hard work, and sportsmanship. This was the soul of our team's success and the glue that kept our team's spirit. Three of our biggest highlights of the season were winning the Christmas tournament here, beating PHS by 1 point. Our second game, Saranac, 31-30, here home. The game went back and forth, and at the final seconds of the game, we won. And the third highlight was beating undefeated Beacontown at home February 2nd. The girls were ready to play. They were psyched and pumped up. The playing five, and even the girls on the bench, played and cheered with a lot of intensity, and it showed while having fun. We won the game by 3 points, 42-32. The girls always stuck together and cheered with their hearts. One way or another, win or lose, we gave teams a run for their money. We were very competitive. This year's team was made up of 14 players. 1 7th grader, 4 8th graders, 3 9th graders, and 6 10th graders. Rachel, a 7th grader, made a big step from 6th grade basketball to the JV level. She did an outstanding job meeting the challenges to the best of her ability. Our 8th and 9th graders, Katie, Casey, Teffy, Sarah, Aaron, Kaylee, and Nicole, they are all promising players returning next year. All are hardworking, unselfish players fighting for the starting position. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Our 10th graders, Steph, Kaylee, Christy, Chris, Amber, Sierra, played with a lot of heart and soul this season. They all had an outstanding season. This group challenged the others to their capabilities and forced the best from each player. It was great. I wish you girls a lot of luck on this year's varsity team. I would like to say thank you to my captains, Steph Bayshard and Kaylee Guerin, for their leadership in helping the team and maintaining a positive attitude throughout the season, for leading with the confidence, respect, and friendship that is so vital in a tradition of a winning team. I would like to say thank you to my team for this season and making it fun. It was a pleasure coaching all of you. Thank you for staying with it, fighting to the end. I'm proud of you all. I would like to go to the awards now. The MIT award. This was a very hard decision to make. Most of these girls, skill-wise, are about equal in performance. The MIP award that I chose goes to Katie Gay. Katie, step forward. 100% in practice and in games. She is always working on her weaknesses in practice and during her lunch period. At the beginning of the season, this player was really nervous going into the game. Katie would hesitate to drive to the basket. As the season progressed, her confidence level grew and she was more relaxed in game situations. She was one of the team's best hustler and defensive players. This player has worked endless hours on her shooting technique. This player has all the dedication, desire, and is working on her skills needed to be a competitive ball player. It gives me a great pleasure in awarding the MIP award to Katie Gibbs. The MVP award goes to two players, Steph Bayshard and Nicole Perry. You two girls step forward. These two girls are also hard-working ball players, always ready for the big games. They both love the game. They are hustlers, good rebounders, and shooters. Both girls dribbled the ball numerous times from one end of the court to the other and scoring 2 points. Both girls could play any position on the court. Steph and Nicole were offensively minded. If we needed a basket, we went to Steph, or if Steph was having a hard time, we went to Nicole. If you tell Steph to take a three, make sure you say a high school three, not the NBA three. Steph just stops and pops. Steph scored 215 points this year. Nicole scored 108. Both players had the dedication, desire, basic skills, and winning attitude needed to be a competitive ball player at the high school level. It gives me a great pleasure in awarding the MVP awards to Steph and Nicole. Our JV basketball team and basketball program has been blessed over the years with outstanding student managers, and this year is no exception. Our team managers, Megan Boris, Nicole LeBlanc, and Andrew Rabideau, are three classy individuals. You step forward, please. Thank you. They have done an outstanding job. And tonight you have heard several say if there was an MVP award, how many times it would go to a manager. Tonight you have heard coaches talk about the dedication, the friendship, the qualities of a leader, unselfish teamwork, positive attitudes. Well, we are talking about not only athletes, but we are talking about, as far as I'm concerned, these three managers. I thank you for the great season and for the work you have done for me, and for the team. I have something to do. To the coaching staff, Andy, Norm, Bernie, Dave, as always, it's been fun. Thank you for all the assistants and good times we had this season. To the boys basketball team, again, congratulations on a super season. And I know we're getting late, so to all the people, I always thank you. Be sincere. Thank you.
Pretty much said everything, but we just want to say thanks to Mr. Bard and Mr. Cannon for helping our young team improve this season. We also want to thank the parents for all their support this year. Mr. Landry for helping out when Mr. Bard couldn't be there, and for Mr. Lambert taking cover of our practices. And thanks Calvin for keeping all our teams and Caroline for comfortable. And Mr. Bard has something for you, and we gave all our managers and
Emily Coley, Hillary Desrow, Elise LaFountain, Jess Poirier, Kelsey Cameron, Bobby Gooley, Dana Langlois, Brittany Phillips, Abby Lambert, Courtney Corrier, their managers and scorekeepers David Clark, and Loretta Cross. I would like to recognize 6 members of the girls basketball team who achieved the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete Team Award. To receive this award, the student must be an eligible varsity competitor whose grade average is used to determine the team composite grade average of 90% or greater, with additional students that have a grade average of 90% or greater. The 6 members of the team earning this award are Hillary Desrow, would you step forward please? Jess Poirier, Dana Langlois, Brittany Phillips, Abby Lambert, Courtney Corrier. They'll each receive a pin and it's in their packet, and congratulations to them. Once again, the girls varsity basketball team, the coach Andy Lindy.
Good evening. I'll try to be quick here. I know you've been sitting for a while. First of all, I'd like to thank all the people who have helped along the way, starting with our AD, Mrs. Gilroy, my fellow coaches, all the elementary coaches who have helped develop the program. Sue, who has been supporting me in this program for a few years. This year I put her to work and had her do one of our charts. And as always, a very special thanks to Mr. Norm Bono, who is such an integral part of the girls basketball program at NCCS. This year started out with a lot of hope and a lot of question marks. We had 5 seniors in the squad, but we also had 4 underclassmen. Early in the year, we stumbled. We lost 3 of our first 7 games. But this is a tough, hard-working team. We pushed them in practice, and they responded beautifully, winning their next 15 games in a row. Every player helped, whether it was scoring in a game or by working hard in practice to make the first team better. We ended up as CBAC co-champions and Section 7 Class B champions. And in addition, as Mrs. Gilroy just pointed out, we qualified for the Scholar Athlete Team Award. This year's managers, David Clark and Lorette Cross. I know Lorette's getting on the bus tonight to go to Virginia to see the UBM girls play, where her brother's a manager. He used to be our manager here. In addition, David and Lorette, they just took care of everything for us. They made sure the gym was ready when we came to practice. They swept the floor, swept everything out, and they made sure the games were organized. They got the water bottles filled, did everything that was required prior to the game. This year we had an 8th grader on the team. We brought up Courtney Courier to give us a little added height. Her progress was quick, and her contributions were much more than we had even hoped for. If she continues to work as hard as she did this year, she's going to be a real big part of our program in the future. We also had a 9th grader on the team. Brittany Jarvis is an excellent ball handler, excellent shooter, excellent defender. She led the team in field goal percentage. We had 2 10th graders in the team. Abby Lambert, an excellent shooter and a conscientious worker. And at the end of the season in the BC game, she made 7 of her 10 field goal attempts to keep us in that game. Carrie Guerin is another sophomore in her 2nd year at varsity. This year she started as forward for us. She was one of our team leaders in both scoring and rebounding. We had 4 juniors in this year's team. Brittany Phillips, a hard worker who helped the team improve in practice. And when we needed her in that last game, she went in and did a great job for us against Messina. Dana Langlois also did a great job for us. She always had to guard Courtney or Jenna in practice. And even though she was at an extreme height disadvantage, she made those girls work hard in practice. Chelsea Cameron showed a lot of improvement in practice, usually guarding one of our quick guards. All 3 of these juniors worked hard this year, and with the graduation of 5 seniors, should have a much bigger role on next year's team. Our 4th junior is Captain Bobby Gooley. Bobby was the glue that held the team together. She's in her 3rd year of varsity, having come up at the end of her freshman year and made the trip to the Final Four with us 2 years ago. Bobby led the team in assists, averaged over 8 points a game. She was steady at the point on offense and also steady at the point on defense. We had 5 seniors in this year's team. Most successful teams rely on senior leadership. These 5 ladies, whether they were starters or role players, were all leaders. Hillary Desereau didn't always receive a lot of playing time, but she never let it affect her spirit or determination. She was always ready when she was called on. Emily Colby, another role player, who always gave 110%, whether in practice or in a game. Emma is a fierce competitor who never stops while on the court. For some reason, most of the other girls didn't care to have her guard her in practice. Jenna Bombard became a starter this year at center. She helped the team in rebounding and scoring. Captain Elise LaFountain rarely took a shot, but she made it very difficult for members of the other team to take a shot or get a rebound at the other end of the court. She led our team with intensity, whether pushing the ball up the court on offense or dogging an opposing player on defense with constant motion. Captain Jess Poirier played her 3rd year of varsity and her 2nd year as a starter. As a 10th grader, Jess was part of a team that finished 2nd in New York State Class C. Jess could be counted on to get the big steal or make the big basket when we needed it most. And Saranac tried to make the game close at Clinton Community in the finals. Just made a nice steal, went down the court and scored and kind of put the game away for us. I'd like to congratulate all the girls on maintaining the amazing string of 8 consecutive CBAC Division I championships, and also winning the 5th sectional championship in the last 7 years. Well, the only thing remaining is to award individual awards, and this is very difficult because we always emphasize team over individual. And all these girls deserve awards. But decisions had to be made, and we chose 2. This year's most improved player, Hillary Desero. And this year's most valuable player, Bobby Gould. We got one other member up here that wasn't mentioned. She just kind of showed up and she hasn't left. Hopefully in a few years she'll do some good for us, score a couple baskets. That's Johnny ready for you.
We'd like to begin by congratulating all the winter teams on their successful seasons. Special thanks goes to our parents, our fans, the cheerleaders, our managers, and last but not least, our coaches. Without these 2 men, we wouldn't be able to claim our Section 7 title. I don't think any of us will ever forget all the 8 o'clock practices on Saturday mornings, or the dreaded jump ropes we'd always try to get out of. However, none of us can deny that all these sacrifices built our chemistry and just made us stronger throughout the season. Well, of course, in addition to the songs we so creatively chanted on the bus. We know Mr. Landry never had a dull bus ride because he loved to hear us sing repeatedly. Well, after all the practices, team sleepovers, and dinners, none of us will ever be the same. If our team should be remembered for one thing, it's our character. At least never stopped dancing. Just always had a brilliant new idea, like the National Roll Your Shorts Day. And who couldn't forget Emma, our very own Rocky? Each and every girl added something special to this team. I'm sure Sarah and Mac will never forget the game we walked in dressed in our fashionable snowmobile gear. Well, ladies, we wish you the best of luck in the future. You'll surely be missed, especially Moonbeam, Stardust, Venus, and Sugar Lips. Yeah, you know who you are. Thank you.
Let's go.